Well, Colorado is cutting critical services for thousands of our youngest, most vulnerable residents. The Early Intervention Colorado program helps children with disabilities or developmental delays. And because of a budget shortfall, children on Medicaid will only receive services covered by Medicaid, no more supplemental programs covered by the state. The state says this, though, will ensure long-term sustainability of the program. However, families and providers say they are devastated. Here's Denver 7's Colette Bordelon.
Just a teeny bit of light pressure there.
Caitlin Knox has been an occupational therapist for the last decade.
So it's really the human connection and the feeling that I'm making a difference in my community.
She supports children with disabilities or developmental delays.
They could need support with feeding. Maybe they have difficulties getting dressed and undressed at an age-appropriate level.
Her work is considered early intervention services, and it's meant for children from birth until they're 3 years old.
He was not expected to walk. He was expected to be a wheelchair user, and he's now independently walking.
Kids like Leo and John, whose moms Jillian and Tori say it's work that's changed their lives.
He was tiny, so feeding was an issue.
These parents say their kids need a few hours a week of these services.
So we got an email yesterday at 1:19 p.m. from the state that said, instead of a child being able to receive as many services as we deem necessary for their health and development, they would only be limited to 4 hours per month of all services across the board.
This is that email from Tuesday afternoon. It starts by saying the Colorado Department of Early Childhood has some, quote, very hard news to share, and that they're experiencing a budget shortfall for fiscal year 2024-25. This Google Doc was embedded in that email. It says that $3.5 million worth of funding will expire at the end of June. It also says the number of children enrolled in Medicaid has decreased. The state says this has put the early intervention program at risk of spending more than budgeted. As a result, it says that starting March 3rd, there will be a number of changes.
One of the things they're cutting is services for kids with Medicaid.
Erin Jergemeyer, Lindy Gunn, and Tessa Hansen all work in early intervention services.
For Tessa and I, a lot of the kids that we see are on Medicaid. So it's about 2/3 of my income gone in a week with no warning.
There's already a shortage. There's already a wait list of kids who are not receiving services.
We're talking about our littlest, most vulnerable population, infants and toddlers with disabilities and developmental delays. Sorry.
With providers at a loss for words.
Yeah, thinking about telling my families, I can't see you anymore, and I don't know when you're going to get a new provider.
And parents scared this means they'll have to choose which services their children no longer receive.
Why don't the kids matter?
Where do you go from here?
I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know.
Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.
The Department of Early Childhood says they are exploring all options to minimize the impact, calling these temporary cost containment measures, and that it's experiencing more referrals, caseloads, and costs than expected. And it calls the services being cut, quote, more generous than required by law.